Rakdos has returned to the Tainted Grail. Sorry about this episode being late. I got kind of caught up with some life stuff, but we are back with Pathfinder 3. Immediately grabbing a new passive with our huge amount of money. It's going to let us draw additional cards. Over to the blacksmith to invest the rest of our money in getting higher level runestones here. We should have a couple mythic tier runestones to exchange. Let's see here. Yes. Now we're never going to get rid of the Hagel. We double check that. We are just looking to see what we want to do with this runestone over here to the right, the Ing. Obviously, switching it over to a year would be pretty good. I move those calcs on top of each other to remind myself how many more calcs I need till I can make a flawless. Kind of do a little bit of Herodric cube organizing here, I like to call it. And so what I discover here is that I have 6 common runestones that I don't really care about. So I can use the blacksmith's 3-for-1 option that allows you to guarantee which runestone you get from him. So I'm going to trade 6 for 2, and both of them are going to be a calc so that I can achieve the flawless calc here. Definitely utilize this ability of the blacksmith. In some instances, if you're having trouble with a run, I would say it might even be smart not to combine certain runestones together and leave them in their base form so that you can transmute them into the runestone that you want. I don't even think I end up using the calc here. Oh, I do. Okay. I figure I might as well. And did we already use our removal? We did. So I don't think there's anything left I really need to do with the Man-at-Arms. I think we're pretty much ready. We could buy another passive. I think we do. Always click on the wrong option for her the first time. Whenever you draw an additional card, increase your damage by 10% till the end of turn. That's very good. That's very, very good. As I stated in the last video, our goal with this run, with the talents that we've picked, is to create so much block every turn that the enemies cannot chew through it all. Then, when our next turn starts, we're going to draw additional cards based on how much block we had remaining. The talent we just picked up is going to let each of those cards boost our damage up by just a little bit, so that's going to help us a lot. We march our way into Area 3, go straight for the weird candle. We're going to take this fight on the right, and then maybe juke back to the left. I think that might be pretty smart. Not sure if that's what I end up doing. That's the other thing about doing these voiceovers so long after playing the run. It's like I forgot a lot of the things that I did, and I get to kind of watch with a fresh mind and see if my plays were correct, you know, or see if maybe I might have more insight now on how I can play better in the future. So super cool. We are setting up our blocks here. That block was free, so really no reason not to play it. And it's not going to get removed since the enemies are stunned. We go over the classic first turn setup. We get a very cheap rearrangements here. I think Oh, no, sorry. It's reduced due to our passive. It's not cheap. It's regular cost. Got to duplicate that raw power. Huge damage boost. Hold breath gets us up to 6 ultimate charges. So now we can guaranteed click that button and gain 3 block. And then we will guaranteed gain the block at the end of the turn. So we're already gaining 4 block for free without playing any cards that generate it. We're getting pretty close to that ideal goal of being able to overblock every turn. Set up another stun, and what this does is reduce the armor because he's already stunned. A huge tool to remember you have in your toolbox. Stunning stunned enemies reduces their armor. Thanks to that Tainted Force, these enemies have been stunned the whole fight. And they've been stunned long enough for us to draw into our Steel Eater and have it be pretty impactful. Now, I've stated many times in past videos that killing this big worm first can actually save you a whole lot of spawns. You end up filling up the battlefield with the smaller and smaller worms, so you reduce the maximum number of spawns. But for the Pathfinder specifically, I need to kill that enemy on the right. They just attack too many times for me to leave them be. Any given turn, I could not be able to fully block all their attacks, and it would reset my damage bonus and make the fight a lot harder. Here we really see how awesome these zero cost maneuvers are, being able to max out our ultimate, getting it out up to 12/12 before we start playing cards, so that we can utilize the extra blocks and extra power. Hit the button. Don't you do it. See, we missed out on a little bit of damage there. Not the worst thing in the world. Not a huge egregious misplay, but definitely missed out on a tiny bit of damage. We get the restun, even though I know we're trying to kill that enemy. Yeah, Pathfinder, more often than not, ends up just clearing the board. I did not calculate my quintessence there. So yeah, a lot of little misplays, little hiccups in efficiency here and there. We can definitely improve. I think it was a very good call not to make this run my true Pathfinder video. I clearly don't know enough about the class playing through yet, but I will. One day I will. Very excited to put that video out. We keep stacking up our damage. As you see, our damage didn't even move there because last turn we had a big damage boost. This turn we're going to do the same thing. Let's see. Yep. Duplicate the raw power. We're just trying to break these worms. Got the one down. Really good to draw small strikes for free there. And all of our damage is going to be focused on the one that's buffing, hopefully. We might decide, okay, because that one had less armor, I think is why we went for that one. And our wolf tries to be the hero and break that worm for us. Alas, it was not enough damage. Good try, wolf. Good try. I'm also very curious if the wolf has anything to do with maybe some secret quests or something to that effect. The thing that makes me think that is when it's talking about the wolf in the Lost Souls camp, it says something to the effect of like he's special, And of course that could just mean, you know, he's like your special little buddy, your special companion. He's your sidekick. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just a, you know, conspiracy theorist at heart or something to that effect. But I always think that there's more to wordings and things like that they could be alluding to something else. So maybe I'm thinking if the wolf gets enough kills is one thing I thought. I'm like, what could be difficult? You know, it kind of sounds like it could be an achievement. Get 10 kills with the wolf. You know, that would be pretty difficult to engineer. Unless you were specifically trying for it. We should hit the button here before we... Yeah, well, I mean, the fight's over no matter what we do, but... Hitting the button as soon as we get to 12-12 is safe. The only reason why we wouldn't do that is if we would overdraw. So we would want to play a couple cards out of our hand before hitting the button. Looking at our options here, none of them are incredible for us in my personal opinion. I could easily be missing something. Let me know in the comments if any of those cards were sleeper OP for what I'm doing here. And we roll up to the ruined home. This is another thing that I also think that I haven't fully figured out. Again, it could just be something really simple and just a bunch of really low tier rewards. But in my heart of hearts, my designer brain wants me to believe that there's a combination of directions that you can go inside that house that leads to something special and cool. What a good opener. Jeez, I'm seeing Insight, Raw Power, Skull Crack is pretty good. Although that does leave us pretty defenseless. And the enemies to the right are double attacking. We always have our flute, and we always have the free block at the end of the turn. So I think maybe duplicating that block was a little excessive. In playing that block certainly was. But it's fine. Time is our friend. So as long as we just ramp up, we're going to be absolutely fine here. We already have 5 blocks, if you count the block we're going to gain when we end our turn. And here we are focusing on the worm. There's a lot of battlefield space that's soaked up by these other enemies. So if I can kill this worm, split it, and kill its iterations, I can save a lot of spawns. Not going to be drawing extra cards from leftover block here. We're going to just block precisely. We could have hit our button there and gained extra blocks, but did not really need it. One of the worst tainted forces. That's where the candlelight gets low enough to where, you know, it's decently good, almost a bad tainted force. We'll play it anyway just to get it out of our hands. Start putting a dent in that worm over there. Now its first spawn had room to spawn both worms, but each of these worms that I kill should spawn 2 worms, but will only be able to spawn 1. So I saved myself 1 spawn already, and by killing the worm on the left, I will have saved myself 2. So very minor efficiency save there, but still saved a little bit of headache down the road. 1 mana rearrangements there. That's really good. Getting to Steel Eater a guy on the right, pretty much ensuring their demise next turn. Yeah, as soon as their armor gets into the negative, they are in trouble. We got that bro Abomination in the middle there, just hammering away at his allies for us. Love you, Abomination. We'll remember this forever. Trying to stack up our ultimate at least to 9 of 12. Remember, it's a waste to do it at 7 of 12 or 8 of 12. You can if you need to, but try to get to that next tier. There we go. So now we want to hit the button before we play any more maneuvers. Alright, so we wasted 1 charge. Maybe we weren't trying to kill this turn, but we absolutely should have been, because he's definitely dead. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow, we got lucky with that. We could have done things much better to secure that kill, but it ended up working out for us. Switch to a little bit better items here. Stronghold, never pick for Pathfinder. These other two are reasonable if you're a little bit earlier on. I think Celestial Dagger is okay for a Pathfinder. It's not as good as you'd think it would be. I look at Calm Breeze. I think it would be very good to duplicate, and duplicating it should be pretty easy. I've never used it before, and this run I've already realized is kind of not the ideal, god run, the epitome of what a Pathfinder can do. So I'm like, you know what? We're still in testing. We're taking the Calm Breeze. It seems like it could be good. Let's see exactly how good it can be. I doubt it will ruin our deck. And I'm kind of sad that it got matched up against Celestial Dagger, because that's also a card I want to test more. And I was debating taking it because I do need a little bit more damage. Look how many maneuvers I have compared to how many attacks I have. So I'm aware of this balance issue, but the science is very important. Definitely don't feel like you're going to sabotage your run by taking a couple cards. Even if you are going to do that, it was worth learning that, because you will have wondered if you didn't take it. If 3 more enemies are alive, gain 1 block at the end of your turn. Very good. You really only need that extra block when you're fighting a lot of enemies. Gain -1 energy while fighting in the weirdness. I don't exactly know how that one works, but I mean, that's one that deserves science, but I didn't want to go that far down the road of science in this one. But yeah, we definitely end up taking the free blocks. That's going to give us another source of free blocks. This dude's got to be rich by now, because every time I see him, I just hand him hundreds of gold. I just fork over money. I buy all the runestones out of his body. So we have 2 cracked Kens from him. And we're just trying to think, unfortunately, we did not get super lucky with the treasure hoards, so our rune setup leaves a lot to be desired, let's just say. We could be much more powerful if we had extra sockets. And we still even decide that the Flawless Calc is just not as strong as some of these other things that we could be doing. As good as it is to be a level 3 runestone, something like the which is going to give us energy cost reduction for every 5th card played, that's really big for our deck and what we're able to do. Every single turn, we just gained an energy, if we play our cards right. Lots of enemies in this fight, so we're going to be gaining extra block for the whole time, pretty much. 2 worms to focus on. We could save ourselves potentially 4 little grub spawns if we do it right here. Let's see how we approach it. We definitely have our stun that we can throw out. This is kind of a complicated turn. Steel Eater gets played no matter what. Lopsided pairing gets played no matter what. Are we honestly thinking about duplicating stun to reduce armor here? Not even. We're thinking about just throwing stun out, because it got duplicated anyway. Oh, we did play Insight. Sorry, I just missed it. We did play Insight. Yeah, lowering armor is very important. And you see we're not going for the grubs, so we're caring about the enemies that can multi-attack us. If we kill the enemies that can multi-attack us, we will never be in danger. We gain so many blocks for free from so many different sources that we are very safe at the moment. Yeah, my brain is definitely cooking, thinking about whose armor I should reduce here. That seemed to be a very difficult call. Really good Tainted Force. Can't ask for a better Tainted Force than that here. Now all of my blocks are going to be considered saved and draw me extra cards for the next 2 turns. That was my first shot at duplicating the breeze, and it looks like it saved me energy. It does. It does look like overall, with the 6 energy reduction, that it did save me some energy there. I think that I just wasted my free spell play, or my cost reduced spell play from my runestone I just put in, but that's okay. A little bit of efficiency drop. We do manage to max out our ultimate and have a ton of 0 costs in our hand. Now we need to hit our ultimate before we start playing those. Yes, I realize that. I stopped myself. Whoa, slow my roll, play your cards. This time we can steal either somebody else. Now our onslaught should be massive. So we do kill the grubs first. Okay, we are just setting up the armor reduction. Yeah, we can save ourselves quite a bit of spawns by doing this. 1 spawn saved. Executioner Strike, super good against the enemy whose armor we've been reducing. Bam. Now we're not going to be able to save any spawns because the board is so clear, but that's fine. That's fine. We did our thing. It's not overly necessary either. We had 12 block unused. It's kind of hilarious. Duplicate the Calm Breeze. Reduce the cost of pretty much our whole hand. Always lead with the Steel Eater. The bear has 75 armor, and we're just committing to killing it last. The difference in damage that the Executioner Strike was doing before the Steel Eater and after the Steel Eater is absolutely crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, reduce the armor of your enemies. Just do it. Just do it. It's going to make things way easier. Hey, if our feed the dog is going to get cost reduced, we'll play it. Why not? Oh, took him to 1. That must have not felt very good. That's where you wish you still kept the small strikes in your deck. I think I still have 1 small strikes in my deck. But then knowing small strikes, it still won't hit the guy on the left. It'll triple hit the bear on the right. Be like, is that what you wanted me to do? Oh, excuse me, took a sip of the coffee. Okay, so we are killing all the grubs. And now we can start the journey of reducing the bear's armor. I think he's finally unstunned. Finally gets to move. But at this point we have so many blocks for free. So much that we can do. We're just going to double stun him and reduce the armor. No real reason not to just Refreshing Breeze here and then hit the button. Or Calm Breeze and hit the button. But I think Refreshing Breeze and hit the button is way better. Yeah, I shouldn't be playing these. I get my cost reduction for the 5th card played. Yeah. Enemy's dead no matter what we do, but we just tried to be as efficient as we could. Excuse me. Take our big healing mixture. We don't plan on taking hits, so double edge is bad. We don't need the armor. Sidestep could be good for drawing cards. I don't really like rapid attack. It's just too... I don't know. I think it's a little bit too hard to pull off. We skip. Those are some attacks that I really want to test. We're going to remove some cards here. Probably some attacks. But we definitely want to maybe remove one of our regular blocks, because we have a very easy time blocking with lopsided pairing. I'm thinking small strikes and block is going to be the removal here. I think that's what we do. Double block. Yeah, we really just super do not need those singular block cards. We're never playing them at this point. We have way better stuff. We're gaining so much free block from other things. It's double block, yep. Even small strikes is useful when we're really ramped up in damage and the enemy has no armor, right? So, decent. We managed to balance out the attacks versus the maneuvers here. We got a big worm set up there in the middle. It would be very nice to break that thing apart before killing the enemies here, but unfortunately the enemy on the right has a lot of multi-attacks. He is going to annihilate our blocks. So that enemy might be priority 1 here. Let's see. Ooh, duplicating counter 8 blocks. Yeah, we're fully defended. Now we can have 10 blocks. We'll have 12 blocks because we get 1 for free for the 3 cards in hand and 1 for free for the multiple enemies. We're going for the worm. Nice. That is what we should be doing. Don't know if that's what I would have played, but... yeah, I think we can break it. Yeah, we do have enough. Nice. And then we should play lopsided pairing and that tainted force, to be honest with you. Actually, I didn't see what the other side of that tainted force was. Maybe it wasn't right to play. But now we fully max out our hand and throw out an item, certainly, because those items need to be utilized. Duplicate the breeze. Get a huge cost reduction on a lot of our cards. We need to pay attention to what our 5th card is, because we don't want our 5th card to be a card that was already 0. So now our cost is reduced. There we go. We're going to try to save rearrangement. Or play it right now. Yeah. 2 more maneuvers, 1 more maneuver. And then we can max out our ultimate. So we're going to be able to do that. I think this is turn 2. So yeah, we're really starting to become a threat. Our power is growing way faster in a much shorter amount of time. It's not taking us so many turns to get our damage to a respectable point. So yeah, this is really looking good for us. We really should hit the button here, and we really should not have reduced the armor of that thing. But, well, no, I guess it was fine, because the armor of the worm on the right there was plenty low. Yeah, we saved ourselves a lot of spawns here. A lot of spawns. We really should have hit that button before we played these, because the button does give us damage boost, because we draw cards, and drawing cards boosts our damage. If you see our damage go up there, just a little bit. 2 energy left still. Small strikes is pretty random. Yeah, not going to kill anything. It'll let us set up a kill, though. We end with 7 blocks. We draw a full hand again. And this is really where we wanted to be. This is the first fight where we see our overblocking strategy is online. We're able to easily get up about 8 blocks before we end our turn. As long as a lot of those blocks don't get used, then our next turn we're going to start with a full hand. Rinse and repeat. We're going to keep drawing more cards, keep getting more damage, and just snowball out of control while being perfectly defended the whole time. We use the cost reduction to pay for the breeze. Taking a couple hits here. We don't necessarily need to. Yeah, we'll just stun the guy on the right to conserve more blocks. He wouldn't have got damage through anyway, but just like I said, we're doing this so that we draw more cards. Now we draw 10 extra cards. Bam. Max our hand out. And I know that I'm leading with the insight here, but remember that in the beginning of the Pathfinder, you're not going to be doing that a lot. It's actually better to insight at the end of your turn and save your duplicate for the next turn if you can, especially on turns where you're not facing a lot of danger. That's how you get the Pathfinder off the ground. They're pretty weak early, so you really got to squeeze every bit of value out of those first couple fights. Stunning Shout is great, but we just do not need it at all with what we're doing here. We don't need to gain armor. Berserk is bad because we're not really trying to take damage. So, yep, this is a straight skip. Draw an additional card for every 4th card played. That's really good, but our hand is already pretty thick. If you have 12 ultimate charges, start each turn with +1 energy. That's pretty good, but if we have 12 charges, we're just going to hit the button. Start every combat with 4 ultimate charges. That's pretty dang good, but it's only 4 charges once. 4 charges one time each fight, and then that's it. It doesn't provide perpetual value. Pretty good for bursting down the regular fights, but really bad in boss fights. I think drawing an additional card for every 4th card played is the best one here. It's not as good for us because we already have our engine set up, but if the enemies ever attack us enough to make our engine not be as efficient as it is currently, that additional draw will help make sure that every turn we're seeing our whole deck or most of our deck, and we're able to get as many maneuvers played as possible. Rhythm. Still looking at Vigor like maybe, but no. No. If it just gave you +1 energy the moment that you had 12 ultimate charges, it would be worth it. But because you have to start your turn with the charges, it means that you have to end your turn without getting maximum value. Check the Tainted Force right away. Lots of attacks coming our way. This is going to be one of the more challenging fights. Immediately recognizing that, I go straight for the items. Do not hesitate to throw items out. Trying to see if I can just kill one, but even if I do, I'm not as defended as I would need to be. I kind of want 3 of them on the battlefield at the end of turn 1, just so I get 1 extra block from my passive. So right now, I'm getting 2 block for free, but I need so much more than that. And I did not draw some of my very good block cards. Those cards are hiding in the 9 cards left in my draw pile. Leading with damage. Maybe just trying to get cards out of my hand. Making sure I don't overdraw when I hit the rearrangements here. Saving insight because I kind of want to duplicate a card that I draw. I'm thinking about the stun as well. That's kind of saving me 4 blocks if I just stun one of them. Could use the second armor reducing bomb. Ooh, not quite enough to kill the guy on the right. Ooh, very good draw. Very good cost reduction draw. I shouldn't play that because I think that card's free. No, it was not free. Oh, I really thought that that card was free, but it was only free because of the things that we had going on at the time. We had a double cost reduction going on. I did duplicate the card that gives me energy, so I was able to put my energy back up. Playing Calming Breeze, though, is a real gamble here. So we have no clue what is going to get cost reduced, and we still have yet to make a block. We have our flute, so that's 2 block. And we have our passive, so that's 1 block because we killed a dude. And now we're fine. It took everything we had. We did not even get to end with extra block. But now that we've drawn lopsided pairing, we're set. We can duplicate lopsided pairing, generate 4 block, and hopefully get a kill on the guy on the right with Steel Eater and Raw Power combo. Don't really see how he survives that. Yep. Yep. Did not really need a crippling attack there. Probably could have just killed him. Oh, we waste our quintessence. Very hard to pay attention to quintessence, at least for me, when I'm focusing on a lot of other different stuff. We see the last resort here. And although we're really set on our blocks, that last fight really showed us that sometimes certain fights can require us to have more blocks than we're able to produce if we draw a bad hand. I was really close to skipping here, but I look at last resort and I'm like, you know what, really? If I put that in my deck, I will not lose. Nothing will be able to get through the blocks that I have now plus that, especially if I can duplicate it. And that further locks in the strategy of overblocking if I need to. So I'm like, you know what? We are just going to take it. That is the third expensive maneuver that I've taken that I'm kind of unsure about. I'm pretty sure either rearrangements, Calming Breeze, or Last Resort. One of these 3 I didn't need to take. Maybe even 2 of the 3 I didn't need to take. But we did it just for the science. Snag up the weird candle here. And now that my candle management and resources are so high, I think I should stop taking the candles from those and start taking their blessings every time. Even if I'm just going to go fight a regular fight, I think that their blessing would be very useful. Especially because you can level it up and get better blessings. Here we are at the easiest treasure hoard fight that exists in the game. Still stand by that this fight is pretty easy on every character. I think I've only ever seen this guy's turn 2 once or twice. Almost every other time I kill him in turn 1 on every class. On any difficulty I've played on. We're just being very particular about our first turn, even though we were looking at it and we're like, it really kind of doesn't matter what we do. Our first priority is to clear up space in our hand, because when we kill these little side dudes, we're going to get cards added to our hand that can damage the boss, and they will damage the boss by a lot. So we only need like 2 of them. Now, on a class like the Pathfinder, who its very essence revolves around time and stacking up damage based on time, you would really think that of all of the classes, this would be the last one, you would assume, that would be able to kill this enemy in turn 1, right? You would assume that this class, I wasted my quintessence there, unfortunately, would have a really hard time being able to kill this guy in turn 1. And I'm pretty sure this is the first and only turn 1 kill that I get on this character in the entire run. Yeah. Super easy. We hit our level 20. We get our last offering. Meditation could have been good, maybe. Duplicating meditation, that could be good. That might be how the top score Pathfinders are achieving their damage, I wouldn't doubt, on the secret final boss. We get our final mastery. When you draw an additional card, reduce the armor of all enemies by 5. Super good. When you have at least 8 ultimate charges, gain 1 additional charge from playing stances. That's good. Helps you boost those charges. Double the energy gained from your ultimate ability. All of these are super good. Unlike a lot of classes that their final mastery is not very impactful, this one here is pretty big. I'm going to go with 8 or less ultimate charges, gain an additional ultimate charge, because I just need to get to 6. If I can get to 6 ultimate charges, then we're golden, because when I hit that button at 6, I gain 3 blocks. So that's so much free block, so much free damage. I need to ensure that I'm at least hitting my button at 6 power or more every single turn. That's the goal. A lot of attacks coming in. 4 of them. So theoretically, if we can play 3 maneuvers, which will get us to 6, we will not need to block at all. Let's watch. Let's see if I figured this out. I'm at 6. When I hit that button, I'm going to gain 3 blocks. I gain 1 block for having 3 cards in my hand and 1 block for there being 3 or more enemies. So I'm already ending with 5 block. If I press the button, which I should do before I play any cards that deal damage, because the button gives me a little bit of a damage boost. And that damage boost could have really helped right there. I think the reason I did that is because I did not want to play Refreshing Breeze, because Refreshing Breeze actually nerfs my damage. So if the one card that I am going to play is a card that lowers my damage, then perhaps it's not best to hit the button first. Here, I definitely should have hit the button before I played those. 1000%. That was strictly wrong. We're already so defended, and we've stopped a lot of the incoming attacks through a stun. So we're just going to try to put heavy damage in across the board here. We know we're going to be able to kill that mass next turn and keep it from exploding. So we're just thinking, do I gain a bunch more blocks? Do I put out more damage? Almost always put out more damage is the answer. You're always lacking in damage here. Oh no! I didn't see that he murdered the wolf there. now at some point I'm going to have to play that thing for 3, unless it gets cost reduced. I actually don't remember that happening. Wow. But that is one reason to take the wolf, especially early. If you can play him in the turn where you're not being threatened, he can take a hit for you. Sometimes even more than one hit. That can save you a lot of block. Skullcracker definitely can kill 2 dudes here. We're trying to make sure it kills 3 at least. We did get the double kill, but we definitely need that 144 damage to go away or get more blocks. Actually, I can't see from here if the ogre is attacking. I do move it over just to see. Yeah, so I just need 2 blocks. Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need to die because I can already block his damage. But it should be just as easy to kill him at 88 and negative armor. Are we really gonna stun him? I was gonna say. Yes, just kill him. Shouldn't we Steel Eater past self? Yes, Steel Eater. There we go. Now he's set up to be killed, kind of no matter what. And I just keep drawing extra cards that deal damage and are free. The game just wants me to end it in this turn. Smack. And luckily enough for us, we end up getting a polished Gur at the end of the fight. As far as upgrading the blacksmith, I would prioritize drop chance for runestones first. That's going to allow you to get a lot of dust and rack up even more upgrades a lot faster. And then the very next thing that you go for is the runestone rarity for the drops. You want to try to get the mythical runestones dropping in fights as soon as you can. It's so huge to be able to get one of those from a regular fight. This encounter, once you've kind of made peace with these guys, is really good too, because it kind of gives you a guaranteed legendary runestone once per run as well when you run into them. And I get a year, the strongest legendary runestone, mythical runestone I mean, in my opinion. And I think the community's opinion. I've been poking around on the Discord and I've seen some pretty funny things about the year rune, so I think everybody understands. But we're just thinking about what fights we want to take here. We're already max level, so we don't need to take every fight. We're investigating who's hiding what. And we do want to take this blood altar, bloodstone, whatever it's called. They can offer card removal, stat increasement sometimes. So yeah, this is going to make us a little bit stronger. The worm in the middle is priority 1. Multi-attacker on the right, priority 2. If I don't think I can generate enough block, I'll deal with the guy on the right first. But as you can see, before all my free block, I already have 8. I'm about to have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 block at the end of this turn. Yeah. We are free and clear to go for the worm. This is also why I think grabbing that 5 block generation card probably wasn't necessary. I didn't have all of my block set up when that was offered to me, but looking back, I really think that I could have done without it. And it looks like we do decide to kill the enemy on the right first. Interesting. Being able to generate this many blocks means that that guy really was not a threat. So killing him just made it a little bit harder for me to deal with these worms. Oh, we still have Find the Dog at 3 energy. I think we find a way to play that. I think we find a free moment to play that at the end of one of these fights. We're gonna YOLO Calming Breeze with all of those cards in our hand. Just hoping. We did get some good hits, though. We really did. Ooh. And we draw Rearrangement for 0. Of all cards to be 0, that's a really good one. Now, holding breath before we do damage is a little questionable, but I think it's fine as long as we're going to hit the button before we do damage, because then it kind of balances out. Probably should have hit the button before I played that. Maybe I would have overdrawn. It's always so hard to tell in this game because your max hand size is huge. It's like 14 or 15. And our Find the Dog got reduced to 0. Look at that. That's how we ended up getting it back out. Lopsided pairing already just showing how ridiculously strong it is. I don't even have to cast it most of the time, but when I do, I'm just so fully protected. Yeah, would have been able to save a lot of spawns had I went for the worm in the middle first. Because it was the largest of the worms. They don't make them any bigger than that. But no harm in being safe. And definitely the safe play was to kill the enemy that we knew was the only one who could really get through our blocks, if they got very lucky. With so many cards in your hand every turn, it can be a little overwhelming on what to do. But I think that playing this class 2 or 3 times will take away all of that hesitation. I think that I'm just feeling that because I'm kind of unfamiliar with the Pathfinder in general still. Kind of messed up my ordering there big time. Big time. What I should have done is got to 9 ultimate charges, used it, and then played the card afterwards, because when I have 0 to 6 charges, I gain extra charges. So right now I would have 4 ultimate charges, and the very next maneuver I play would take me up to 6. So next turn I would probably be able to get to 12 without any problem. Yeah, I robbed myself of 2 ultimate charges there. And I end the turn so fast before I can even see the trigger of my passive drawing me the 0 mana cost attack. I'm like, oh my gosh. Just misplaying all over the place. And now I'm just playing so fast because I'm like, you know what? It just doesn't matter. I'm trying to be as tactical as I can be and, you know, as correct as I can be. I just need to be playing cards. There. The enemies have died. Let's see. We get another mythical runestone. This means that with the blacksmith, we can easily make a tier 2. Probably a year rune, since we don't have a lot of armor slots. If you have multiple armor slots, the general consensus is that multiple year runes are better than one level 2 year rune. But with just the 1 armor slot, a level 2 year rune would be really good for me. Seeing what treasures this person is hiding, I actually didn't even see there. I have no clue what rewards lie behind this person. We get the double stun. Now we've pretty much won this fight. Now, as tempting as it is to kill the rat on the right, we really need to focus all of our damage on that worm. We need to Steel Eater, duplicate raw power, Steel Eater, and then annihilate that worm. We will be able to save a lot of time this fight. Free Last Resort, gotta play that. Free Lopsided Pairing, gotta play that. Don't you play Onslaught. Not before you hit the button. Nice. Perfect. This turn we played pretty well. We got all of our damage boosts before we actually started playing our damage cards. Don't do it. Don't you Skullcracker that. No. Is that enough to split? Don't be silly. It duplicated. It duplicated. Oh my gosh. Oh, it hurts. Rewatching it hurts. That's one of the worst misplays I've seen myself make. I was like, yeah, we're on top of this fight. We're going to annihilate this fight. I mean, we're so strong, and it hardly matters. But to me, it matters. And then we were like, oh, I guess I should Steel Eater, you know, after I've already played all these attack cards. Oh, the pain. I do not blame you if you click off this video right now. I do not blame you if that hurt your soul. Totally understand. My soul has also been wounded. Well, I know what I'm going to be having nightmares about. The only thing that Rakdos is weak to is inefficiency. It's like my kryptonite. Well, we're gonna push through and make it to the end here. Summon our doggo. Play all of our cards. I don't think we really realize how much of a misplay we made. Maybe we're tilted from 11 of 12. Oh, the tilt. Oh, I'm gonna have to just start just ignoring what's happening in front of me here, trying to focus my thoughts. And we killed the rat first. Okay, no, we're overblocking, we're drawing our cards, we're winning the fight, we're not taking damage. What more can I ask for, right? What more can I really ask for? Don't answer that honestly. Pretty much just going through the motions here, cleaning up the rest of them. We're still getting pretty good value out of splitting these big worms. If we go for that middle one, we will end up saving ourselves one 180 HP worm, which splits into two 90 HP worms. So we just ended up saving ourselves a whole lot, and we're going to save ourselves 3 more 90 HP worms. So yeah, not the worst. Not the worst. And we still took no damage. As long as we took no damage in the fight, I guess it really doesn't matter how long it takes. Look on the bright side. Try to see the silver linings. We really should hit the button here before we Steel Eater, because we will reduce armor harder. Nope. Nope, we're just playing our cards at this point. Yep. And it works. You know what? It works. Fight over. Cards played. Enemies destroyed. Do we swing over to the boss? Oh, her, yes. Absolutely worth it to deal with her, because she has you fight this fight that I think is pretty easy. Well, that actually does not look easy, but it is. This is a deceptively easy fight. These monsters don't have any kind of special defenses to them or anything like that. They're not immune to stun. Their life pool's actually relatively low, and they don't have a lot of armor. They do have a lot of incoming attacks, but that's the only scary thing. And counter just trivializes them immediately. And because they're so squishy compared to a lot of other monsters, even on turn 1, my damage is pretty substantial to them. And I have 9 charges, so I might as well hit the button. Now I have 12 block, so my onslaughts are going to hit very hard, even on turn 1. And I definitely should Steel Eater and get a kill, because there's no way a monster that gets hit by Steel Eater survives any of my attacks. Onslaught especially, but Onslaught should just kill a regular guy on its own. Yeah, I thought so. Executioner Strike should be enough to kill this. Yep. Why did we not kill the unit that's multi-attacking? I'm wondering. I guess it really doesn't matter. We end with 9 blocks, so we still get a max hand size draw. The overblocking is working. Counter still pretty good here. Duplicating counter means that we're perfectly safe. There we go. And then we just, after we're perfectly safe, just play all our 0 cost attacks. And this is why I really liked the idea of having 2 first slashes in the deck, and why I prioritize them. When you have to invest so much into defending yourself, and your number 1 priority is defending yourself, you can end up in this situation where you're really not outputting damage. You spend all of your energy every turn just blocking, and you find it hard to hit. So the first slashes kind of get around that and allow you to still have some damage output before all of your passives come online and you get all of your crazy cost reduction effects. All right, give us your blessing. And I'm looking at these, I'm like, I don't need any of these. That was totally not worth it. I think I do wealth. Yeah, a super small amount of wealth, all things considered, in this game. But that's more than you normally gain for regular fights and things. I know I don't need the blood fountain, so walking on up into the boss. And I've been kind of liking the trend of just letting the boss fight play out. Maybe play a little bit of music sometimes. If the boss fight's kind of short, maybe not. And just sincerely thanking you guys for watching. I have really enjoyed my time with this game. I'm excited to be making content on it. And every little comment and like I see, and it just fills me with inspiration. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, peace, peace.
This feels like an echo of something that happened before.